Good day and welcome to my channel. My name is Heinrich Edgecome and today we're going to do this very loose lavender landscape. I'm going to show you if we do harder lines, we are not going to get as much distance as when we do softer lines in the midground and background. We are going to do a lot of layering and also going to use some gouache. Here's the materials that I used, and I will also add it to the description list. Here's a rough outline of a sketch that we're going to use. So let's start. So first of all, we're wetting the paper so that our colors can spread beautifully on that initial wash. But make sure your paper is really wet. I am working on Winsor and Newton paper today, so it absorbs a lot more moisture than some of the other brands. So first of all, we're just dabbing in a little bit of a sky, and it can blend into the tree area. In this layer, we're only covering up the white of the paper, so we're going to get a lot of fusing and blending of all these colors, and we're just going to have a lot of fun with it. I'm using a cold blue, and the transparent yellow is also quite cold, but not as cold. But as you can see, we get vibrant colors from that. And also with a cold blue and the permanent rose, which are also much colder, we get a vibrant purple. We do not have to be very precise in everything that we do in this initial layer. Let the watercolor do its own thing, and then we'll add things as we go along. Just follow the sketch just to get a basic idea of where you want certain things to be. Yeah, I'm adding some salt. In this case, I'm using the salt just to push away some of the pigment to create more white in my painting. Let your painting dry. The salt really worked well, so we're just removing the excess salt. And now we're starting with our trees. So play around with color there, because you do not want anything monotonous. And leave some white gaps in between. So now I'm starting with my lavenders. I'm not really blending out a lot there. As I said, I'm going to create a lot more hard edges in this painting. As you see some things that you need to adjust, then adjust them. Really a lot of fun just to play around and see what your brushes can do and what results you get. And as always, play around with the color. You definitely do need variety. Just splattering in a little bit of pigment in certain areas, and then they can do their own magic. Now I'm starting with the lavenders in the foreground. Adding a little bit of touches in between where I see where I need to improve some things. Now it's the lavender flowers. Yeah, I'm really starting with a much darker value. Normally we really work from light to dark, but as I said, this time I'm really going in with darks, and then I'm going to bring in light a little bit later on. It's always interesting to see how things develop, because as I said before, it looks like a lot of chaos, and as you start building, things come together. So if you get something like this, don't be afraid, just stick with it and go on, and you will see what you can achieve. At the moment, I'm just starting to reinforce that foreground where it stands out a little bit against the background. Just let that brush dance across the paper. Every once in a while I go back to the area in that midground and just enhancing a few things as I see it. Just doing a little bit of darker values here in the foreground. My greens are really quite vibrant in this painting, so I really created a lot of texture. At the moment there's not a lot of variety in the values, but we'll change that, so let your painting dry. That purple that you see there is gouache that I mixed into the color, so it makes a beautiful lavender, and it's going to help enhance that foreground quite a bit, because we really want that to stand out. So just play around, create your little flowers. Gouache is really a useful tool in your watercolor, unless you want to go into a competition where you're not allowed to use any other mediums. can now see that things are really starting to come together and the colors looks much more interesting and the flowers really coming alive. So I'm adding darks again, and now the flowers are really getting even more definition. It's all about adjusting and re-evaluating as you go along in your painting. Remember, we're always working with high contrast as it helps to create interest in your painting. And adding a little bit of white gouache. Now adding even some more darks in between, just some stalks to create a little bit of variation in shapes and value. Those lights and darks that really makes a painting pop. Adding some more gouache mixtures here, build up that contrast even more and let those flowers in the foreground really stand out a little bit more against the midground and background. And just splattering in a little bit more pigment just to create some more flowers. And some more gouache mixture as the color started to fade again. So as you can see, it was really a lot of layering to make that foreground stand out a little bit more, because otherwise everything will be in the same plane and that we don't want. Sometimes you just need to challenge yourself and do something completely different or in a different way than you normally do, just to see what the results will be and see what worked and what didn't work and what you need to adjust for next time. And bringing in some more darks, and the flowers are really coming alive now. Actually really had a lot of fun playing around and experimenting here. Bringing in a few highlights just to connect the midground and the foreground. And just enhancing a few of the dogs at the bottom of the trees and creating a little bit of texture so that the trees don't look flat. Today my advice is just to experiment and play around and don't be afraid. Enjoy your journey. And once again splattering, as I love to do by splattering. And I think that's it. So this is our final painting. So please like, subscribe and comment for me. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.